So let's do the same thing, but let's do a 3 by 3. So I don't want you to do this by hand because there's a lot of fractions and other things, but you could do it by hand if you wanted. Just know that you just multiply everything by 10 to get rid of all of those weird fractions. But we're going to do it without that and use all the fractions and solve using your calculator. So let's start this. So I'm going to move this up and over. Again, we're using inverse matrices to make sure it is the product of 2, just like before. To get that x, y, and z. So I'm going to move this calculator up. Again, just to rewrite it, we have again, x equals a inverse times my b. I'm going to space that out. So my x is actually x, y, and z this time. And that is equal to whatever a inverse ends up being. So we're going to write a inverse in just a moment. And then we're going to multiply it by our B matrix, which is just 5, -8, -8. And then we will be solving this to get x, y, and z. So let's find that inverse. So first off, let's type all of this stuff into the calculator. So again, we go to our calculator, press second matrix. We're going to edit matrix A. It is now a 3 by 3. We're going to type in the fractions, -4 divided by 5, press enter, 3 divided by 10, press enter, 7 divided by 10, and keep going through the list. You can just use division versus a fraction button. You can use the fraction button, that's totally fine, but it is faster just to do division. -2 divided by 5, -1 divided by 10, and 1 divided by 10. Just make sure you double check that the negatives are all in there. So it's negative all in the first one. This is 0.8, 0.2, 0.4, yep, negatives. This is also negative. The rest of them are positive, so that looks good. Now, again, we have to edit our matrix B here. So a second, let me get in my calculator, second matrix, and go down to edit, or right to edit, and down to matrix B. That is a 3 by 1. We have 5, -8, and -8. Press enter. Oops. Go to, I put a plus sign there. My bad. So enter there. Now second and quit out of that. And now we just have to find a inverse. So to fill in the blank, so press second and then matrix, press A, and then press that -1 power, which is the inverse button. And this is my answer for my inverse. So we have 1, -1, 3, -1, 2, -2, -4, 1, and -5. And now we just have to multiply this times B to get my X, Y, and Z matrix, that X matrix. So go back to my calculator, press second and matrix. Oops, sorry. Yep, and then we're going to press that, A, and then press the inverse, and then back to second matrix and go down to B. So A inverse B, press enter, and now we have X, Y, and Z. So X is the first one, because it's in order. Y is the second one, which is -29, and then Z was the third one, which is in fact 71, and now we have our answer for that system. So the problems that you'll probably see a bit more of, especially like on your test or quiz, is actually doing a word problem involving a 3 by 3. So we have Nicole, Jim, and Austin who serve a total of 142 orders Monday at the school cafeteria. Jim served 8 more orders than Nicole. Austin served 4 times as many orders as Jim. So how many orders did each of them serve? So we're going to be writing down equations. So, and I'm going to use or label and define, let's use N for Nicole, J for Jim, and A for Austin. You could use X, Y, and Z, but I like to use what's in there. So if you think about it, if we add up the number of orders they served, so again, if we say let N equal the number of orders for Nicole, if we define it, you'd also say Jim is the number, or J is the number of orders for Jim, and A is the number of orders for Austin. We could add all of those up, so N plus J plus A, and that is in fact equal to 142 total orders. Just remember, there is a coefficient of 1 in front of all of those, which you do not have to write that, but that is just something to be very useful in some cases. So now the next thing is looking at Jim served 8 more than Nicole. So we know that Jay served 8 more than Nicole. So Jim is in fact Nicole plus 8. He has 8 more than Nicole. So 8 more than Nicole is this, so Nicole plus 8 is 8 more, and that would be my equation here. So then the last thing is the last one in orange. Austin served 4 times as many orders as Jim. So we're going to times 4 to Jim's orders in order to be Austin's. So now this is my set of equations, and we're going to have to rewrite it to make sure it's in order. So I'm going to say 1n plus 1j plus 1a is actually 142. Now we know if I subtract the n over and subtract the 8 over, or sorry, leave the 8 over here actually, we have negative 1n's. If I subtract it over, we have plus 1j, and then we actually have plus 0 a's. There's no a's, and that's still equal to 8. Now, for this one, we have 1a here. If I subtract the 4j to this side, and then there are 0 n's. So literally just moving this over, there's no n's, moving your j's over. And if I move the 4j, we still have a 0 on that side by getting rid of or subtracting that to that side. So now this is my 3 by 3. And we're going to use a lovely, lovely, lovely calculator to solve this. So the idea is we're going to do something, and I'm actually going to show you a different way to solve it without an inverse, but you can still use the inverse way. But we need to write down the matrix as an augmented matrix. So we're going to try to use an augmented matrix to solve this using what's called row-reduced echelon form, which is what we were solving earlier. So give me a second. I'm going to pop up my calculator here. Okay, so we got our calculator up here. I'm going to show you a different way. So notice how this is a 3 by 3, but if we add this column, it's going to be 3 rows and then 4 columns. So we're going to kind of ignore this at the moment and use it as a 4th column. So we'll go to second, get my calculator second, matrix. We're going to edit matrix A, and we're going to do a 3 row by 4 column this time. So we're going to type in 1, 1, 1, and then 142. We're going to do negative 1, 1, and 0, and positive 8, and then 0, negative 4, positive 1, and 0. Now, we're going to go back to second quit, and we're going to take and do something to this matrix. We're going to go back to second matrix, and we're going to go to math this time. And you can see stuff like determinant. We can actually find the determinant of things or matrices. We could find what's called a transpose. We could find the dimensions and some other things. We could do a random matrix, identity matrix. We could augment. There's a lot of things you can do, but we're going to do is not REF, which is reduced echelon form, which is what we call triangular form. We're going to do this row reduced echelon form that we did with basically ones down the column and zeros all around that identity matrix, which you have the far right as my answers. So I'm just going to press second and matrix A here and close my parenthesis, and it's going to give me this as my answer. So again, this references my x, or my n in this case. So n equals 17, because that's what's going to be right here. We have, this is my, again, in the next order, we have j, which is going to be 25. And we have our last one right here, which was our last thing in that thing, which was a, and Austin is going to be that 100. So how many orders did Nicole do? Nicole did 17, Jim did 25, and Austin did 100. So please try this one on your own. It's semi-similar. Just think about it a little bit, and I'll have an answer for you shortly. Hopefully you tried it. This one's a little bit easier. You just had to figure out that B, or that column here. So we just put this down and put that in here, and then we can do row reduced echelon form. We could do A inverse times B. Either way, you should get that. You should get $4 for bread, $2 for cookies, and $3 for cupcakes.